Aside from making sure your applications are performing as expected, you maybe want to save a couple dollars as well, right? Win-win for you. Maybe you get a little bit of an extra budget. Maybe the finance folks are happy. Everybody's happy, right? Funny enough, though, when we're doing performance optimization, resource optimization, by default, we're kind of already saving money. It's just one of those things that happen. Let's say, for example, you're running super large worker nodes when in reality, you could size them down. Performance is good, still works as expected, it's fully optimized, and you're saving a couple dollars. But how can we actually do this? Well, there are a couple tools out there. We're going to take a look at one called Kubecost. So this is the general website of Kubecost here. And as you can see, the whole goal, Kubecost provides real-time cost visibility and insights for teams using Kubernetes, helping you to continuously reduce your cloud costs. So what I want to do here is get into the code a little bit, and the installation is pretty straightforward. Now I actually already have this installed, and the reason why is because you're going to want it to run for a little bit, maybe an hour or so, to collect a little bit of information in your environment. When you first deploy it, you're not going to see much going on, but again, maybe 30 minutes to an hour, you'll start to see information digested. But maybe 30 minutes to an hour, you'll start to see information ingested. Now, one of the things that I want to point out here, there's this Kubecost token, and this isn't needed. It's only needed if you have the enterprise version, okay? But you can just use the Helm chart just like this to install, and then you can access the dashboard with the port forward command, and you're going to be targeting the deployment, not a service. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that, and then I'm going to go back to the browser here and open this up. So as we can see, our information is here, our cluster is connected, and we got a couple of different pieces of information right off the bat. The cost, total cost that's known for the last 7 days, possible monthly savings, and cluster efficiency. And the cluster efficiency piece is interesting. It's the percentage of cluster resources weighted by cost used over the last 7 days. This is defined as CPU, RAM, GPU storage usage divided by the total spent time running on the cluster, right? So this is just the overview, but we can actually dive into a couple of more pieces here. Things like allocation, and I like this because this breaks everything down for you, everything from the network to the GPU, CPU, RAM, and it tells you exactly what is running, how it's running, and what the total cost is. You can also look at it just purely from a cluster perspective, right? So you can set budgets if you want to, which is interesting. You can see total cost, estimated savings, and you can see how your cluster is running from an efficiency perspective. Now, one of the things that I really like is the overall forecasting, okay? So the forecasting is essentially what's expected in terms of the resources that are necessary for your environment. So let's say I click on the one insight here, right size cluster nodes. What I can do is I can click on show optimized inputs, which will tell me exactly what I need to run in my environment and what the overall recommendation is here based on CPU. And by the way, well, not just based on CPU, node count, RAM, etc. But one thing that I want to point out here as well, sometimes a tool like Kubecost isn't just about saving you money, but it's about ensuring that you're running as expected from a performance optimization perspective. So for example, here, even though you're saving money, you're actually going to increase your virtual CPUs. So it's not just about bringing down resources, it's also about increasing resources to make sure that your cluster is running as expected. Now, if we head back over to under monitor in allocations, you'll see this edit button. And to get the forecast, you can choose cost forecast, right? And then you can do it based on cumulative cost, monthly, daily, and hourly. So we're going to take a look at what this is showcasing here. Now, one of the different things that you may see, this actually says is an error, but it's really not. The reason why you're seeing this is because Kubecost might not have been running for an appropriate amount of time. That's why it says here, verify model trained successfully. And as you can see, it does take a little bit of time. So if you're seeing that, that's unfortunately why. So what you're going to do is you're going to want to take a little bit of time and just let the information continuously collect here. But if we go to overview, as we can see, this is the possible monthly savings here. Now, what about if we combined Kubecost with something like StormForge? So if I go to StormForge here, I can see my overview for my cluster that's running. So I'm going to click on cluster 1, okay? And then maybe I'll click on, well, actually, let's go to workloads here. And what I'll do is I'll click on my demo app and notice how, again, same thing with the resource optimization tool, right? Sometimes you're not running with the necessary performance optimization settings. So with this, for example, it actually wants to increase our monthly by $1.46, which isn't too bad if we're going to get the performance that we need. So what we can do is we can click apply now, we can click apply recommendation, and we'll go ahead and we'll give this a couple of seconds to finish. All right, and we can see here that the recommendation was applied for our environment. So costs went up a little bit. And if we go back to Kubecost here, what I want to do is I want to do a refresh. And luckily, we're not seeing anything too different here. If we click on the report, we will see perhaps a little bit of an increased cost because, like we saw in StormForge, we're going up about $1 and change per month. So if you want to get an overview and dive even deeper into your environment from a cost perspective, get an idea of where you're sitting, how your environment is performing, you can combine Kubecost with StormForge to ensure that you're actually getting the outcome that was expected.